Chapter 1. An Evangelical Life. John Stott was born on April the 27th, 1921, into a privileged home. His father, Arnold Stott, was a rising doctor who would go on to become physician to the royal household. Stott Sr. had served in the First World War and would serve again in the Second, rising to the rank of Major General. John was the longed-for son, with 3 older sisters. It was a home with servants, including a succession of nannies. The one who stuck was Nanny Golden, a devout Christian who taught the children Christian choruses. The Stotts lived in Harley Street, the area of London traditionally associated with doctors. And as a child, Stott was taken to the nearby church, All Souls, Langham Place. Early in his childhood, John acquired a love of the natural world, encouraged by his father. Together they would catch butterflies using traps baited with treacle and laced with beer to make their prey drowsy. But when a sibling's squabble led to a cushion landing on John's butterfly box, John shifted his attentions to what became a lifelong fascination: birdwatching. Letters and diaries ever after switched easily between accounts of his work and birds he had seen. School days. Arnold Stott had been educated at Rugby, the elite private school that gave its name to the sport, and Rugby School is where John was destined. But first he spent a spell at Oakley Hall Prep School. John was not always happy at Oakley Hall. Perhaps the ice that formed in the wash basins during cold winter days and the occasional canings from which Stott was not immune did not help. But it was not all hardship. John was not above a prank, a habit that continued throughout his life. His school friends referred to him as the boy with disappearing eyes, because his eyes would narrow to a squint when he laughed. Boarding school was a well-worn track for the children of the English upper classes. It was a route designed to instill not only a top-class education, but also a stiff upper lip, a suppression of the emotions that Stott would come to lament. The first time his mother came to see him at Oakley Hall, he met her in the headmaster's office, where he found her standing next to the headmaster and his wife. Without thinking, Stott advanced toward his mother, his hand outstretched, and said, "How do you do, Mrs. Stott?" The headmaster's wife burst out laughing, but Emily Stott had the presence of mind to cover her son's embarrassment by shaking his hand and replying, "How do you do, Johnny?" It was an incident that encapsulated the confusion of a boy taken from a happy home to the stark surroundings of boarding school dorms. Nevertheless, Stott became head boy, the UK equivalent of class president, and won a scholarship to Rugby. Conversion. Religion of a rather formal kind was part of the life at Rugby School. There was a brief service in the chapel each day, as well as house prayers in dormitories at night. Stott later described feeling that, if there is a God, I was estranged from him. I tried to find him, but he seemed to be enveloped in a fog I could not penetrate. This estrangement was coupled with a sense of defeat. He could not be the person he knew he should be. He would creep into the school chapel to read religious books and seek God, but to no avail. What brought change was the testimony of another schoolboy. John Bridger, a year ahead of Stott, invited him to what today we would call the school Christian Union, but which was simply known as the meeting. It met each Sunday afternoon in one of the classrooms, with Bridger leading and sometimes giving a talk, which astonished Stott because his experience of religion to date had always been clerical. Then, on Sunday, February the 13th, 1938, a few weeks before Stott's 17th birthday, they had a visiting speaker, E.J.H. Nash, or Bash as he was known. A few years previously, Nash had joined the staff of Scripture Union to work with schoolboys, somewhat controversially focusing on elite schools with the aim of evangelizing the future leaders of the nation. He had developed a ministry built around vacation camps, supplemented by support of Christian unions during term times. The camps became known colloquially as Ewern camps, after the Dorset village of Ewern Minster in which they were held, or simply Bash camps,